Good day, everybody, and welcome to another segment here of High Heat on the MLB Network. It's nice to have you with us here, and hope you're all staying well as we head to mid-April and Easter week in the whole 9 yards. There you see Whit Merrifield here at Kansas City, Royal infielder, outfielder, and really just a star in the making, and he says hello on our program. Whit, good to have you with us here. Nice to have you aboard. How you doing? Okay there in Winston-Salem? Things okay?
Everything's great. Everybody's healthy here. Family's healthy. So doing good. Just counting the days down.
All right. Let's talk about is staying in some sort of shape. I know you're running with the Cows. Can you do anything baseball? Are there batting cages that you have in your home that you can at least swing at? Give me a little rundown on what you're doing as far as from a baseball standpoint is concerned.
Well, the first couple weeks I was home. I was able to go over to Wake Forest and hit there and throw there, and then they shut their doors. So now it's back to high school for me, where I got the little pop-up cage and just hitting off the tee and making sure my body stays in shape, throwing into the net. I got my brother down the street as well, so he comes over and plays catch with me. But staying in shape and doing the best we can. I heard an interview from Nolan Arenado the other day, and he had a great point. It's the hardest part about this is not knowing what we're working towards. So it's kind of like we're just out there working, trying to stay in shape, but we don't know if it's going to be a couple weeks or we don't know if it's going to be a couple months. So
yeah, you don't want to make this like an off season, and you're going to get to a point where it's going to feel like an off season. Right now, it feels like a pause. You don't want to get into a situation where it feels like an off season, right?
Exactly, yeah, because the off season for me is it's very structured, and I lift a lot of heavy weights and start building up to a certain point, and then sort of transition into season mode. It's different now because, like I said, we could get a call that okay, we got a report here in a couple weeks, and I got to be ready for that. So it's a fine line to walk. It's kind of a weird dynamic, but we're all doing the best we can.
All right. Now, speaking of it, let's say you do get a call, for so fortunate, who knows, but let's say you did. Right now, you're about 4 weeks out, or 3.5. Let's say somehow you get a call. How much time do you think a position player would need and maybe a pitcher would need? And then you would think they would try to play as many games as they can, so the pitchers would have to start the season with only 3 innings of work. But how about you personally, Whit? If you started spring training, say May 1st, and I'm throwing a number out there just for the heck of it, would you need 2 weeks, need a week? What do you think you need? Let me hear.
A week for me and a lot of hitters that I've talked to. It takes a week to kind of get the rhythm going, especially since we've had the bulk majority of our spring training already not too long ago. So even in spring training, I feel like it takes me 15, 20 at-bats to sort of get my feel, see some sliders, see some curveballs, some change-ups, and then let's go get it.
Could you have a spring training and get ready for a season without playing opponents? Could you do this all like an inter-squad games? Or do you think you need to see other teams' pitchers and get a little feel and play in a game scenario? What's your take on that?
That's a good question. I hadn't thought about that because inter-squads there's just a different feel to them because it's your guys, it's your friends, it's your buddies, so that the intensity level isn't quite there. But if that was all that we had, I think we could kind of ramp up that intensity and try to make it as game-like as possible. So I think all things considered, I think we could do it just with our team if that was what we had to do.
All right. How about keeping up with your teammates here, Whit? I mean, you guys, I don't know who your player rep is, but are you on top of the 40 guys in the roster and your buddies on the team that you talk to every day? You get a sense what everybody's doing. Is there close interaction as far as Royal players are concerned spread around the country?
Yeah, we talk quite a bit. I would say probably 75% of our team has gone home, and then 25% is staying in Arizona doing just kind of, I guess, being there in Arizona. So, but most guys have gone home and are being with their families and staying in shape at home.
All right. Now, listen, there's a lot of proposals. I don't want to get too specific on any one. Who knows? We've read the MOB ideas and statements and everything else. But I'll ask it this way. Would players – do you have a young family, by the way? You have kids?
I've got a wife, but no kids yet.
No kids. Okay. Would you be comfortable, and would you think a lot of players would be comfortable with young kids of going to a location for a long period of time to play the majority of the schedule? Let's say you have to go to Arizona for 3-4 months. Would guys be comfortable of leaving their families in the middle of this to go play a condensed schedule and a lot of games in a period of time? Or would that be somewhat they would be a little apprehensive about doing that? It's a tough question. Would you be willing to go away for 4 months to play the majority of the season? What's your take on that?
I definitely think it would be uncomfortable, but we are dealing with times that we've never dealt with before or seen before. So I think it would be something guys would come to grips with and end up doing, because if that's the only option we have, it's the only option we have. So I do think initially it would be a little bit of a there would be a little bit of a holdback to it, but I think if that is the only option, guys would eventually come to grips with it and do it.
All right. How about a cram schedule? You're talking, say, 8-9 games a week, double headers. I like the 7-inning idea with the double headers.
Mm-hmm.
I'd also put a guy at second base in the top of the 10th inning to avoid these 6-hour games. Well, that's what I would do. Now, I mean, I know there's some purist idea, but this is an experimentation scenario
For sure.
for this year. But you got a lot of get from an athletic perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And you're a big athlete, golf the whole bit. You're young. Could your body sustain playing, 120, 130 games in a 4-month period? I mean, that's a lot of. I mean, it's hard enough to play 162 games in 183 days. How about you play 140 games in 145 days? Could Whit, Merrifield, and players in the sport take that physically?
I think so. Sitting here on my couch saying that right now, I think we could. This is just it's so unique. It's so odd, and it's one of those things you don't understand how much you miss it and how much you appreciate it until it's taken away from you. So I'm sitting here and thinking we should be a week into the season now, missing competing, missing being out, playing in major league games, and as I sit here, I think if we can get this thing cranked up, I'm ready to go play every day for however long they want me to play. So that's how I view it. I think a lot of players view it that way as well. But I think after the 34th or 35th game in a row, we'd be like, okay, this is a little more challenging than we thought.
One last thing. How much do you miss it? I mean, your opening day was, 10 days ago. I know the average fan's feeling this with all the sports, but it's specific with baseball. How about you as a player? You're routine oriented. Careers are shorter. There's a symmetry to a season. Opening days, sort of a national holiday for a lot of sports fans. How much is Whit Merrifield sitting in Winston? You can play golf all you want and hit all the balls at the high school all you want, but how about the actual competition and the rhythm of a baseball season? How much you miss it right now?
I miss it a ton. And you hear it from guys that retire that what they miss most about it is being with their guys, being in the clubhouse, being around their guys. And that's the thing I miss the most is being around my guys. But I miss the competitiveness. I miss going out and competing. I miss the fans. I miss the travel in the cities and being able to experience these different cities. And there's just so much that I feel like we get to do that we do it so much we might take it for granted. And maybe this will be a way for us when we come back to really appreciate every day that we have in the big leagues, because it's a small window that most guys get to be in the big leagues. So it's something that I miss, and I'm going to appreciate it a lot more when I get back.
Whit, great job. Thanks for coming on. Stay healthy, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Appreciate your few minutes here today.
No problem. Thanks, Chris.
You got it. Whit Merrifield here on High Heat, and we will see you along the way on our little segments. Adios.